Hi, my name is Leanne Hadley, and I want to welcome you to the third session of our Bible book study using Brene Brown's book, Atlas of the Heart. I'm so glad that you're here. Whether you come in person to the book study or you're just listening to these videos, I'm delighted that you're here. And today we are going to talk about her second skill set for cultivating meaningful connection. So before we get to that, I just want to review our scripture for our study, which is found in Ecclesiastes. And it basically says, "Two are better than one because they have good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up the other. But woe to one who is alone and falls and does not have another one to help. Again, if two lie together, they can keep warm, but how can one keep warm alone? And though one might prevail against another, two will withstand one. A threefold cord is not quickly broken." So basically what it says is that we have relationships, and then we have relationships that are twisted together, and these are the ones who sustain us and strengthen us and get us through life. These are the things I think Brene Brown is talking about in her definition of connection, which is the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment, and when they derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. So she's talking about these kind of relationships, and we've been talking about how do we develop these relationships, how do we nurture them, and how do we become people who help others find these relationships. She has three skill sets. Skill set one is the skill set of developing grounded confidence, and I don't need to talk about that again because there's a video about that, so you can go back and watch that if you want. Today we're going to the second skill set, which is called the courage to walk alongside. So the courage to walk alongside another person. And in this skill set, she says that if we have the courage to walk along someone, Brene Brown says, we are committed to be with people, not pushing them from behind or leading them from the front, but walking beside them in solidarity. So in my words, I would say, I'm going to walk with you, and I am with you no matter what. And then Brene talks about the things that undermine walking together. And she says there is a near enemy. She talks about the near enemies and the far enemies. The near enemy is that we try to control another person's path. So rather than walking with them no matter what, we start saying, go this way, go this way, go this way. And this undermines our ability to truly walk with someone through whatever they're facing and trusting that they'll have their own outcome. It's not my outcome, it's theirs. The other enemy, the far enemy, is where we can't handle it and we walk away. We start judging them, we decide it's too hard of a journey, whatever, and we just cut and run. These are things that will stop building a relationship. Obviously, if you leave the relationship, it's over. But if you get too pushy, the person will start resenting you because you're not walking with them, you're telling them what to do. Suddenly it's your needs, what you need, not what they need. And so Brene talks about the skills that we need to do this. Language, we need to use our words, we need to be clear, we need to listen, and we just can't hold things in. We have to use our language. We have to be committed to be other focused. So this isn't my story, it's your story, it's their story, and you are just walking along with them. And when you start trying to control, you're making it about you, not about them. So you're just walking with them in this judgment-free zone. We have to practice compassion and empathy. And she says, and I love her definition of compassion. Let me read that to you because I love it so much. And it's on a big blue page, on page 117 in your book. It's easy to find. Compassion is fueled by understanding and accepting that we're all made of strength and struggle. No one is immune to pain or suffering. Compassion is not a practice of feeling better than or thinking I can fix you. It's a practice based in the beauty and pain of shared humanity. So to have empathy with someone, you don't have to walk in their shoes. You don't have to know exactly what they went through, but you can understand their grief because you've had grief. You can understand their struggle because you've had a struggle. You can understand their disappointment because you've had a disappointment. But empathy allows you to identify with it without taking it on as your own. So there's still a distance there. I relate to you because I've been through it, but what you're going through, I'm not going to pretend like I'm going through it with you. It's your journey. I've had my journey, you've had your journey. And then out of compassion comes empathy. Empathy is a tool of compassion. So empathy is where we respond if we're willing to be present to someone's pain. So compassion is, I've had that feeling, so have you. Empathy says, this is yours. I'm not feeling it, it's yours. Do you understand the difference? So you have compassion and then you have empathy. Empathy is a subset of compassion. You're capable of compassion because you have feelings, and so do they. And we've all had struggles, and so have they. Empathy is where you say, I'll sit with you and I'll care about you because I know how badly this feels. I will not take over your story. I'm going to walk beside you. So we need to have, according to Brene Brown, empathy and compassion, and we need to practice that because it's difficult. We have to practice non-judgment. So whenever we start judging someone, it's become about us and not about them, and we're trying to control the narrative. The power is in the being together, not the helping. So we have to understand that the power is not fixing. We're not there to fix. We're there to walk with, trusting that in their journey, they'll receive whatever it is that they need to receive. And the last one is that we need to have boundaries, emotional boundaries. We cannot walk with people if we take their emotion into ourselves. It will kill us, and we will have compassion fatigue, and we will be worn out. So we have to, while we're walking, we have to constantly remind ourselves, this is their journey. I understand it because of the pain I've had on my journey, but this is not my journey. All right, so if we do those things, according to Brene Brown, we are going to be in good shape to walk alongside some people. There is a spiritual word that I like to use, which reminds me of what she's talking about, which is holding sacred space with another person. And sacred space is where you realize that you are there to be the hands and the feet and the heart of God for another person. And they have their story. And you are holding space with that person, what Brene Brown would call walking alongside. But in the gathering, God is present. So it's based on the scripture, where two or more are gathered, there I will be. So you're holding space with the person, but you don't need to fix it. You don't need to judge it. You don't need to do anything except hold the space, because God, who loves that person more than you do, is in that space. Where two or more are gathered, there I am. There's a great Bible story, I think, that illustrates what it is to hold sacred space so beautifully. And it's a story that we all know. It's the story of Zacchaeus. So Zacchaeus is a tax collector. He's not a very good person. And he hears that Jesus is coming to town. And he gets there and he has to climb a tree to see Jesus. Nobody's going to let him in the front, or maybe he's so short he can't see. He climbs a tree and Jesus notices him. So remember that definition of connection, to be seen and to be heard. Jesus sees him and stops. Now Zacchaeus is seen and heard, and Jesus says, Zacchaeus, come down. I'm going to eat with you. I'm going to walk alongside you today. I'm going to your house. I'm going to walk home with you. I'm going to eat dinner with you. I'm going to spend time with you. And it's interesting because people start grumbling. And Jesus does not back away from walking beside just because he's unpopular for doing it. He stays the course. I'm going to walk with you. Come down from the tree. And it's crazy. In this story, in an instant, Zacchaeus is changed. And Zacchaeus in this story says, look, Lord, here and now I give half my possessions to the poor, and if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I'll pay them back 4 times the amount. Just by being seen and heard and Jesus coming along beside him, Zacchaeus is changed. Now, what we don't have in this story is Jesus lecturing Zacchaeus. Jesus explaining to Zacchaeus how he's on the wrong path being a tax collector. Jesus judging Zacchaeus. Jesus telling Jesus, Zacchaeus, you're a sinner. Jesus simply sees him, walks beside him, just a short distance, and Zacchaeus is changed. We don't need to fix the people in our lives. And Brene Brown says, in fact, don't fix them. They have your journey, their journey, you have your journey. Let's walk beside each other. And let's see if in that non-judgmental, loving, accepting space where we are seen and heard and valued, if we don't find the healing and whatever we need to get through this world. I love the concept of walking alongside. It's a really powerful concept, and Brene explains it so beautifully in her book. I hope I've done it justice in this few minutes. If you want to do a little reflection time, I would invite you to make a list of all the people that you're walking alongside, all the people in your life, your children, your friends, your work co-workers, all those people, and then ask yourself, the things that undermine it are when we judge them or when we decide that we want to control them. What is it in certain people that brings that out in you? I feel the need to fix this. I have the need to control this. What stops you from walking alongside some people? And what makes it easy to walk along with other people? And then the question is, how does an awareness of this change you and the way you're willing to walk alongside other people? Is there something about you that needs to change, something you need to let go of? Just ponder that a little bit and see if it won't help us to be a little bit better as we walk alongside other people. We've all got triggers. Some people we can walk beside and it's great, and other people we just want to fix it, or walk away or control it, whatever it is. What's the difference? And what is it about us that gets triggered? Spend some time with that, and I think it will help us to walk alongside each other in a more beautiful way. I want to just end with her definition again of connection, because that's what we're working on. Let me see if I can find it here. Connection is the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment, and when they derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. Holding sacred space, walking alongside, this creates this non-judgmental relationship of deep connection. It's what we all need, it's what we all deserve, and I believe it is what will heal us as we go through life with all of its struggles and all of its just life. We need each other. I hope that you're finding deep connections, and I'll see you next week for the fourth part of our journey. Thanks for being here.